As we told you yesterday, Harry and Meghan will be dividing their time between the UK and Canada, and it was just announced that the two will no longer use their royal titles, nor, come the spring, benefit from taxpayer money. So, to talk about what this means for Harry and Meghan and the royal family writ large, we've invited to the program today Robert Lacey. He is a royal historian based in London. So, thank you for joining us today, Robert.
Pleasure, Michael.
You know, I want to begin here with the British papers because, of course, they this morning all have their takes on this announcement that happened yesterday. Many, it seems, praising the Queen for delivering what's been described as a hard Megxit. How do you describe that reaction? What do you make of that reaction that we're now seeing?
Well, that's certainly true. The deal is tougher against Meghan and Harry in a sense than people expected. They had talked about sort of spreading their time between both Canada and the British royal family, and the Queen has really said, well, you're in or you're out, and they're out. On the other hand, so that's how she's dealt with matters from the point of view of what we call the firm. But from the point of view of the family, really nobody can remember such a warm statement both of regret and also praise for the way in which Meghan made herself part of the family. And it's clear also from the announcement, the fact they're going to pay off £2.5 million for Frogmore Cottage. Well, it's a sort of cottage, got 7 bedrooms, I think, in Windsor, where they're clearly going to spend a lot of time. Well, no, not a lot of time, but a fair amount of time. Having said all that, they're bound for Canada, and the Queen is wishing them Godspeed, but without their titles of Royal Highness. They will remain the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, but at least while they're in Canada and outside the royal orbit, you won't have to call them Royal Highness, and you shouldn't bow the head to them either.
So letting go of their titles, as you say, with this move. And I want to pick up on a few things that you said there, beginning with the Queen, because she did put out a statement on this matter, as you were talking about. And in part, this is what it had to say. And this is for people at home to take a look at the statement. They say, quote, "I want to thank them for all their dedicated work across this country, the Commonwealth and beyond, and am particularly proud of how Meghan has so quickly become one of the family. It is my whole family's hope that today's agreement allows them to start building a happy and peaceful new life." You know, Robert, how true is that statement? How does the Queen really feel about Meghan and Harry? Was that just a statement, or does that really point to how she feels about this young couple?
The fact that she put it in means that it's sincere. The Queen does not say things she doesn't believe in. Buckingham Palace is a master of the British euphemism for disguising but not admitting displeasure. If the Queen says something as explicit as that, she means it.
Okay, so she means it. And there was also, and I want to get your thoughts on this, because there was one columnist in the UK who suggested that Meghan and Harry could not be seen as establishing almost a competing court in North America. Was that the threat that was seen by, as you referred it, the firm?
I don't think anybody saw it as a threat. And those of us who look at it in a positive way see it actually as a new dimension for the royal family. What this is all about for Meghan and Harry is freedom. Freedom to pursue the causes they really want to get involved with. In the case of Meghan, for example, women's empowerment. And that's something that she would have found difficult under while working with the royal family in Britain. She would have been perceived as trespassing into political territory. The other thing the family want to do, when I say the family, they're talking on behalf of their son as well, Archie, is to have the freedom to fight back against the press. They're looking forward to being in Canada because of the friendliness they perceive there. The fact that your media is not so poisonous as ours is, certainly that's how we see it. And the fact that if they're out of the royal embrace, they can take legal action, they can fight back, because they have the same attitude towards the press as Buckingham Palace, but they themselves would like to take action, and they already have in some cases.
Mm-hmm. I do wonder, though, as you say, they will be more free to pursue the causes that they are passionate about, but does that not create the potential of a problem, perhaps even a challenge against William and Catherine, Prince Charles, perhaps even the Queen?
That's the possibility, but I don't think that the Meghan and Harry are looking at it that way. I mean, what's 99% clear is that we'll hear in the next few weeks or months about a new foundation that they're setting up. Well, they've already set up the British branch of it, Sussex Royal. That will be set up in Canada, but under rules that also work in North America. And I think the model they'll be taking is of the Obama Foundation. We know that Michelle Obama and Meghan are very close, or the Clinton Foundation for that matter. These are charitable organizations which can exist both in both in the United States and Canada, since you have reciprocal tax laws, because eventually I think they're probably going to end up in the United States rather than Canada. Let's see. The main point is that the Obamas raise $250 million a year, US. The Clintons raise even more. I think those are the sort of sums they're thinking about. That will enable them to live independently of the British taxpayer. It may even allow them to fund their own security.
Which, of course, is a big issue in this country.
A very big issue. It is a big issue here. And at the moment, they're getting round disclosing the details by saying that under British protocols, certainly, who pays for what cannot actually legally be disclosed. And I would have, well, as I say, I would speculate that they've been very sensitive to taxpayer opinion in Britain by offering to pay off the money spent on their cottage and by insisting how independent they are. I would imagine that when it comes to Canada, it's the same. And if they perceive that the provision of Canadian-funded security is an issue, they will find a way around it, and they certainly intend to harness the resources so they could pay for that themselves.
Robert Lacey, good to speak with you. Thank you for the insight.